Hey everybody, my name's Oscar Dess. I'm joined today by David Jewett.
Hello.
I've called you David, I don't know why.
No.
My name's Dave.
Yeah.
We're here at E3 2018, and Dave, we've been to check out Sekiro, Shadows Die Twice.
Hell yeah.
The new game from Software, of Dark Souls, Bloodborne, Demon Souls fame. Tell me about it. Is it gonna satisfy Dark Souls fans?
I think it's going to satisfy an itch that Dark Souls fans and Bloodborne fans have, but it is very much its own beast. Like how Bloodborne was like a distant cousin to Dark Souls, this game is like long lost family member found on Ancestry.com. It's very different. They've got things like there's much more verticality in the game, which is one thing that will be immediately noticeable. Whereas this, you're much more agile. You can so it's worth going back a step from that verticality. But you've only got one arm. It's been replaced by what was called a shinobi prosthetic, which is one of the coolest names for an ability in a game
It's really
I've
cool,
ever heard.
isn't it?
From what we know, the game starts. You are. I don't think these are final names, but you are the shinobi, and you are the protector of the Lord, and your arm gets caught off by the rival, and he takes the Lord away. So your mission is to save the Lord, get revenge. They were very light on story details, but like I said, you lose your arm and it gets replaced by this shinobi prosthetic. And the first thing you use it for is this verticality, so you can get onto rooftops, get into trees.
You've got like a grappling hook, right?
Yeah. So that immediately makes it extremely different to many Soulsborne games. But also it's kind of like a multi-tool. You can switch it and turn it into a fan for defensive. You can turn it into an axe, which is used to break shields. You can throw firecrackers to distract enemies.
That one looked really cool as well.
Use it to ignite your sword, throw shurikens out of it. What they've done is they've taken like the Soulsborne DNA, but given you so many more options. So what I found interesting is that enemies will be really hard to fight, as you know, it's a From Software game, of course they are, but they'll all have weaknesses that you can exploit using this multi-tool. For one example, in the demo we saw, there was a troll, and eventually it overpowered us, but we found out that using the firecrackers and the fire, the troll was afraid of it. But you can find that out in the game by overhearing conversations and learning it. So while like Dark Souls had environmental storytelling, like in the Drake Bridge, there's fire everywhere, so you should assume there's a dragon coming. I think that's their way of doing this. You can learn about the world by overhearing stuff.
And you've also got a sword as well, we should say, that comes into the
as
combat.
a shinobi, that is your main source. Of
I think
combat.
Miyazaki said the mission statement for the combat of this game was clashing of swords.
Yeah.
And so like that's very evident. You can see there's like this huge flash when you do clash swords, and it happens a lot.
It seems like there's less emphasis on hits. It feels like, from what I got from the demo, it feels like enemies will die in 2 or 3 or 4 hits.
Yeah.
But it's so much harder to get those hits through. But when you land them, like blood spurts, like it's proper Kill Bill blood, like.
Yeah. When you do eventually defeat an enemy, they can come back to life, and so can you, right? Like,
Yeah,
that's
so
part of the USP of this, right?
Yeah, again, like Soulsborne games, you die, you lose your stuff. This is very, very different. They're really secretive about the mechanic, but when you die, you can just revive yourself. And usually when you die in these games, you're back to your bonfire. Apparently there is another checkpoint system, but it, again, works very differently. And we saw that the player died, and he was left on the ground, and then the enemies would walk away. But he was able to use like a power to resurrect himself on the spot, to then kind of re-engage stealth and get a stealth kill. And again, like the stealth mechanics, they're calling it light stealth. That is something new to these kind of games, but it plays into that element of overhearing conversations, the clashing of swords thing, because it's not going to be so much like dodge, 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 hide behind a shield. You're not going to be able to take on too many enemies, so you need to use stealth to kind of even the odds. So like engage from the rooftops, jump down, burst into shadows. It's not going to be a stealthy game. From what they were telling us, stealth is used to gain an upper hand and engage in combat.
And that's what I really like about the whole death and resurrection thing as well, is that they've basically said that that death can be used to your advantage in this. Like, death is a mechanic now. It's not just a failed state. You can come back. That will reset enemy positions, or you can come back and try, like you said, try and stealth them. I think that's a really, really interesting mechanic, and it goes for enemies as well. We saw footage of a boss being defeated, and then him coming back with two sort of shadow versions of himself, and you had to fight that boss again, but two of them. Yeah,
it's very interesting. I really, really like the direction they're going. It feels like it's definitely a combination of stuff they've learned from previous games, but it's also, like I said, it's its own beast. It's got its own DNA. You shouldn't really compare it to. It's not going to fit into the Soulsborne like Venn diagram. It's going to sit outside. It's going to be instantly recognizable to fans of those games, but it's gonna have the same darkness that these games are known for, but it's also got lots of light and color, and it's going to have similar mechanics, but it's also got so much more and so many options. So it's going to be hugely interesting to play, and I'm super excited to go in and get crushed by the first boss I find.
Awesome. Well, guys, for everything else, Sekiro, Shadows Die Twice, stay tuned to GameSpot.com.